I'm Rick de Leeuw. I'm from Holland, and when I was 16, I lived in a boarding school, and music was my my release. Actually, it was for me. It was a key to another world, and the music I loved was the music. The music you made the photography of. So it was Graham Parker, it was Elvis Costello, it was Joe Jackson. Those were the guys I admired, and I cherished the covers because it was the other world. It represented the other world for me, the world outside the boarding school. So thank you for that.
It was a pleasure. I suppose I enjoyed it as well. For me it was a new experience. So I was entering a new world, although I'd always loved music. Now I was like inside it, really.
Mm-hmm.
So their characters, our heroes or people's heroes, I was right next door to, they were in my studio. So it was an eye-opener for me, that period of time.
But did you realize it was at that moment it was a real special frame, the time frame? It was for me it was a total change.
Oh, you mean obviously punk had changed, had just finished when I started doing the covers. Mm-hmm. We'd had a thing going on in England called pub rock, which the Graham Parkers and the Andrews and all those people.
The Dr. Feelgoods, yeah.
The Dr. Feelgoods, exactly. And so they were looked at, punk musicians, although I think they were fair, but they were looked at as not being very good musicians. Whilst all these pub rockers were great bands, very good musicians.
Yeah, Nick Lowe, Dave Edmonds,
absolutely. The Attractions and the Blockheads, and really great musicians.
The Rumour, yeah.
So it changed quite a bit, and then obviously it was the art school movement a little bit. That the post-punk period was people who knew a little bit about image creation and they were sensitive towards it, and they were driven to be interested by it. I say driven to be interested by it because some members of bands weren't interested at all.
The drummers.
The drummers, exactly. But the record company executives really wanted the covers to look great, and great graphic designers were starting to come around then, or were around then. Some great graphic artists involved in the music industry, involved in album cover design and music poster design and everything. I met some of the great ones.
Yeah, because for me, every single release of Stiff Records, I just collected it. I got it all because it was for me it was heaven.
Yeah.
It was you want, even when I was in Holland, I felt as I was part of it because it was something you could relate to very easily.
Well, it was the development of some great talent. Jake Riviera, who was the co-owner of Stiff, with Dave Robinson, was a great copywriter and really fond of graphic design and art, graphic art and promotion of music with great design. And he had Barney Bubbles, on Stiff. In other words, when he had, Barney worked for Stiff, not on their necessary payroll, but as a freelance designer, and he started all that great design, Barney. He developed this great look for Stiff. And of course, Stiff was a great idea. Like the first release, I believe, was called Stiff One.
Yeah.
Which is great, and we know.
The slug line was, "If it ain't stiff, it ain't worth a fuck."
Exactly.
And
that would have been Jake Riviera. And you were talking about Nick Lowe, and there were like full pages in all the NME. They really were very fond of graphic design and advertising music and the look of things and the images that promoted bands and everything. So I walked into a cauldron or a feast of people that really, a set of people that really were into images and making good images. So it was wonderful, you know. But that period of time generally was a very good time to be a photographer, which obviously I am and was, where people really liked photography and understood the importance of it and were sensitive towards it. So it was a wonderful family of people that just wanted to do good stuff. And if you were talented enough, you could really do some good stuff because you had the opportunity. And as you say with Stiff, you had crazy Dave Robinson, who was quite a handful, but a great man. And then you had Jake, who was again quite a handful. And you had the great genius of Barney. And so I started with my first cover, like you were saying, Graham Parker. I did the Parkerilla, which was Dave Robinson's idea, actually. And Barney designed the cover. I'm always shocked with that cover because it's regarded as one of the best covers in the music industry. And I've never understood quite why, but it is, and it's featured everywhere. It's rather strange, you know, being involved.
But I think as well, because the album itself was very good. The music on it, the sound of it, and the charisma of Graham Parker in those days. He melted the energy of new wave and punk with extremely good music, good musicians and great songs. So he had a voice that captured it all. So he was, in his own way, he was iconic. And the cover took that as well.
Well, I'll give you a story about the cover now. How these guys, who I've just been talking about, you know, the Steve guys, and how Barney was and that. I mean, it was quite something. For instance, we take the Parkerilla cover, which I don't know if everybody knows about the Parkerilla cover, but
of course they do.
It's basically a gatefold, you know. It's a double album, a live album. So, forgive me for repeating myself, but Dave Robinson gave me the opportunity. Although Graham Parker was not on Stiff, Dave Robinson was his manager. And he controlled Graham's visual output or whatever. So I got the cover to do. Graham looks a bit like a werewolf on the cover. He's photographed down in the South Bank of London. I photographed it. You know, I had to organise the prosthetics and things, and I didn't have a studio or anything. And my favourite place was around this concrete environment on the South Bank in the centre of London, and also my bedroom in Chiswick. I photographed Peter Hamill, obviously Graham Parker, Peter Gabriel. All these people would come to my bedroom, you know, and I'd move the bed out of the way, and I'd have a plain wall, and I'd photograph them. So Dave Robinson, I took all the photographs, and Dave Robinson said, "I'm going to introduce you to the graphic designer." Now, I did a book in 1978 after this shoot. I'd seen these wonderful drawings in the NME, Musical Express, wonderful pen and ink drawings, really simple line drawings for a punk artist called Johnny Moped. And I wanted to work with this man. There were just small little lads around in the NME every week, and I thought, I've got to work with this guy. Anyway, by sheer coincidence, Dave Robinson comes in to see me, you know, to have a look at all the work, of course, that we'd shot. And he brought that man in by sheer coincidence, this guy called Barney Bubbles. He comes in and introduces me to him. And of course, now we've got to start working on the cover and everything. So I've got to start intimately working with him, looking through all the contacts, getting prints done. So I'm getting to know him a little bit better. And he introduces me to this woman. This woman comes in called Frances Newman. She was Stiff's on the road photographer, you know, when the Stiff tours and things. She like photographed all the social documentary, documentary, photojournalistic gigs, everything for Stiff. And Barney introduced me to her, and she dragged me away from my relationship in this flat where I'd photographed all the bands. I was living with this woman, and this Frances Newman dragged me away from her because I didn't like her very much who I was living with. And then, if you look at the Parkerilla cover now, Frances Newman, who Barney has now introduced me to, had lost her boyfriend. He died, unfortunately, natural causes. So you look at the Parkerilla, it's a double like that, and you open the inside out, and it's Frances Newman, who I'm talking about, it's live photographing colour on the inside, and her dead boyfriend, who was a concrete poet, his typographic style all over Frances Newman's picture inside the Parkerilla. And then Frances Newman and I married each other and we had children. And that's the story of the Parkerilla.
So it's part of your life?
Yeah, part of my life. And the reason I mention that and go through that intimacy of that is that this is how people worked there. Like their artwork, I mean, they were all just blatant graphics. And in some cases, the good people wrapped into the life of the time and the life and the way they felt about you and they felt about themselves. There were proper artworks wrapped around these cover designs and cover photographs.
So that's what it makes, because that's what I thought about the Parkerilla, the music and the album and the cover, it was almost the same, it's very organic. That's what I always felt.
Very organic it is. Very organic. And Barney was especially like that. He would put his own emotional output into his work and how he felt. So on the occasions I worked with him, which he designed my copyright 1978 book, which we have some copies here in Hex at the moment. He then used those line drawings on my book. And also on other projects I worked with him, he would display his friendship towards me, embedded in these album covers and things. So it was quite a fascinating time, really, as opposed to just blatant professionalism, you know.
Yeah, but that comes along.
Yeah, it comes along, and that's what took me out of doing these album covers, and then it just became too corporate marketing, and really not very interesting.
Yeah, because that's what's lovely about the stiff period. It was rebellious, but it was fun at the same time. It was very much humor in it and curiosity, and I think that you have to have those three elements, otherwise it's dead material.
Well, you were like a family. I mean, a true family. They were incredibly loyal. Everyone knew each other intimately well, and everyone embraced each other and fed off each other's talents and carried on working together on lots of projects over obviously a fairly short period of time. But it was very intense and very intimate,
Yeah, it was very intense, and me being a 16, 17-year-old kid in a boarding school in Holland, you make me feel part of this family. So
my pleasure.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.
Lovely. Thank you very much.